Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Double Handful Epsom Festival special. We're going to call. I don't know if it is called the Derby Festival. Why not? We'll call it that. Cracking racing this weekend here in England. What more can we say? The premier 3-year-old race for colts of the season. It's even that important that Mr. Allpress has even managed to get here. I think on the end of the line we should have resurgent Stephen Allpress. Stephen, are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm here, Paul. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yes, all connections, all well and good. How have you been, sir?
Yeah, been great, thank you. Obviously, I went to Newmarket for the Guineas several weeks ago. It was a great day, and now we're looking forward to Epsom this week.
We sure are. I mean, me personally, I've never been a massive Derby fan. It's the sort of race where I think, really, if I'm honest, because of the track. I don't like the track, mate. Anything could happen at that track. I'm adamant of that. So you're always fairly confident. You like the Derby, don't you? It's one of your races you really go for, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I do like the Derby. I can see exactly where you're coming from in regards to the track. It's not like your everyday straightforward track. There's a lot of undulation, and it's a track where it's not so straightforward. You do need luck in running. You need to handle the track, the canvas. So yeah, it's one of those tracks that can find a horse out. However, as far as the Derby goes, it is a unique race, a prestigious race, and obviously you get the top 3-year-olds from that year taking their chance, and hopefully at the end of it, the best one does come out on top. It doesn't always work out like that as the season progresses, but more often than not it does.
It's a very flattering race, isn't it, the Derby? Because the classic example I would think in recent years of it is Motivator. I mean, you look at that horse, hosed up in the Dante, hosed up in the Derby. Never won another race, the old boy, did he? And this could be the be all and end all for a lot of horses. This race, couldn't it? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, as you say with Motivate, he won the Racing Post Trophy as a 2-year-old. He went on and won the Dante, and then followed up in the Derby. And at that point of his career, he looked like one of these horses that were going to retire unbeaten. But as you say, from that point on, he raced a couple more times, and it wasn't to be for him. But yeah, some horses don't seem to go forward from the Derby. And you get others that do come forward from it. There was also, I can't think off the top of my head, from a few years ago, an Aga Khan horse that got beat in the Derby. I think it was a Lamshire, a John Ox horse, and then it come out and won the Irish Derby. And from that point on, it just looked an unbeatable force. And it's Mariota Cracksman. It was an experience going into the Derby, and now that horse looks like.
Absolutely, that's a very and even somehow got beat in the Irish Derby as well, didn't he, Cracksman?
Now, when you look back, obviously he ran a good race in the Derby, but obviously an experience looked to be against him. He did get beat by Capri in a tight finish in the Irish equivalent, and then at the back end of the season on Champions Day in the Champion Stakes at Ascot, I think he showed his true colours, and obviously he progressed.
And again in the Ghana, mate. What about that pre-Ghana?
Oh, very impressive. Obviously, it was his first run of the year, but he couldn't have done more than that. And
absolute machine of a horse, mate. You're right. I'll hold my hands up there. I had my doubts about Frankel as a sire, to be honest. A lot of them haven't convinced me. I don't think, to be honest, they haven't convinced you either, if you're honest. But this one, what an absolute beast of a horse this Cracksman is.
Yeah, definitely. Like as you say, with the Frankels. A few of them have run decent races, but they haven't quite gone on look like classic horses. But Cracksman's probably the best one today, and he looks like to me that he's going to go right to the top. I expect him to show his true colours this weekend, and then go on from there. Really.
Yeah, I mean we have to balance things out. I mean, for as good as Cracksman was, Eminent, you have to say, was as equally as poor.
Yes, I agree. Obviously, Eminent was another one. He started his career really well. He won the Craven. He ran a nice race in the Guineas without winning, but from that point on, he's been a bit regressive, really. But that
Very impressive in the pre-Guillaume Dornano he was there in France. Have you ever seen that performance? That was impressive.
That.
He won Group 2 in France.
Yes, exactly that. So some of them obviously need more time than others, and
that seems to be the key to them. They do seem to be taking a longer time, don't they? Because even look at a horse like Weekender, maybe that ran the other day, is not really ready, is it?
Yeah, exactly that.
Got beat again. That's a horse. If you look at the breeding of that, whether they're running it over the right trip or not is another question, in my opinion. Over 2 miles, I can't see how that horse is asking for 2 miles on the pedigree, but the breeding of that horse is good as well. And that just seems to be looking as though already you can say it's going to be a better horse next season than this season, you would think.
Yeah, I can see that. That was obviously in the Sandown meeting last Thursday.
Yes, very informative race, I think that'll prove to be.
As you say, as we say, some of these horses, they just need a bit more time, and sometimes they need sussing out in regards to their optimum trip, etc. Obviously, looking at their bloodline with the Frankels, you'd think they're a miler to probably a 10 furlong horse, but it doesn't always work out that way. So maybe some of them just need a little bit more time into their frame or something. I remember when Frankel was in his 2-year-old days when he ran in the Royal Lodge at Ascot. I went down to the paddock to watch him in the pre-parade ring. And he looked like he definitely had that little bit of temperament about him. Obviously, as his career progressed, obviously he was well mentored, and he seemed to kind of get rid of those quirks, but there seemed to be a chink in him early on, certainly.
Yeah, but there just wasn't, was there? That's what I'm saying. They will. I mean, no doubt at all that given time. I was disappointed that Nelson got beat. I thought it could maybe have upheld the form from that race with Pentagon and the other thing that it got beat by last time. But from the Ballysacks to the Derringstown, Nelson was actually 3rd out of 4 then, wasn't it? It might have even been last, which disappointed me, I must admit, because that's out of Moonstone that won the Irish Oaks.
I watched both the Ballysacks and the Derringstown, and I was a little bit disappointed with the O'Brien horses, Nelson and the Pentagon. I think they've got a lot of catching up to do in regards to their...
So they might get there when they're 5, like old Cliff Samoa's looking like he's going to find
obviously
this year,
he won first time up. It was a bit hard work in doing so, but obviously he raced in the Tatsalls Gold Cup last weekend, and he ran a decent race, but obviously got the run of the race out in front, and he couldn't quite reel him back.
Good horse, that Lancaster Bomber. I'm glad it won, mate. I've never had an interest in the race, but I was pleased it won. It's run some good solid races in defeat, that horse, hasn't it?
Yeah. Obviously, it was second in the Derby, and he just touched off in the last 100 yards or so.
And it nearly won the Dewhurst. It's 66 to 1, didn't it? Just got done on the line by another O'Brien horse a few years ago as a 2-year-old, didn't it, as well?
That's right. Are we talking Lancaster
Bomber? Did it even win with 9
now?
more on it at 33 to 1 or something? I remember it.
Yes, that's right.
So it's there, isn't it? It's just it just goes to show what fearsome horses that man has, really, because he never gets a chance to run them all, does he? And they're all brilliant, aren't they? A lot of them.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, it's not all a now or never thing with Aidan O'Brien and his horses. He likes to bring them along gradually, and he likes the horse to tell him when they're ready. And they progress from the first race to the second, and the second to the third. It's very patient. It's a very patient game they play.
Yes, and so obviously that's brought us on quite nicely to where we need to be. Anyone would think that was done by design, not luck. Well, there is certainly one horse I think that it's fair to say was telling Mr. O'Brien it was ready to run at a very high level as soon as really it started on the track. And that was obviously the Guineas winner, Saxon Warrior. I mean, what a horse, eh?
Yeah, as you say, what a horse. Obviously, he's done nothing wrong up to now. He won his debut at Naas, and from that point on, he's just gone forward with every run. He won the Racing Post Trophy at the end of last season, very impressive. in a competitive race, and obviously they've campaigned him for a classic campaign, the Guineas, the Derby, and possibly a tilt at the St Leger, and
there may be stuff justifying the Breeders' Cup, hopefully.
Yeah, well, you never know. That could be the plan later down the line. Certainly the classic, you'd imagine if he does go that route, it'll be for the classic rather than the turf.
Absolutely, you'd have to think that, wouldn't you?
I guess the decision will be made once they've got the Derby and the St Leger out of the way.
And we've obviously got the Irish Derby in between. He will go for that. I think we both know that.
Yes, definitely. If he is victorious, I'm pretty sure it will be the Irish Derby they go for. Best
3-year-old colt for them will always be the Irish Derby, won't it? They have to win it. They have to win it, or else it's just to uphold the prestige of the race, really.
As you say, like the Irish Derby will probably be the stepping stone to the St Leger in September.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm going to ask you a question now. You've seen a lot of racing, the same as me. I think you could make a case for saying that debut by Saxon Warrior that you referred to at Naas was arguably as impressive as anything Frank ever did, mate.
Yeah, definitely. It was impressive. Obviously, as you well know, a lot of Aidan O'Brien horses first time up need the run. And you
just imagine if he did.
Sorry, mate.
Imagine if he needed the run that day. Just imagine if he needed the run that day. And they didn't have him spot on for that.
Yeah, you never know. He might have needed to run, and if he did, that's even better news. But like,
because he's only just winning these races, isn't he? At the minute, he's only just winning them. I think there's much more to come, is what I'm saying.
There certainly appears to be much more, and as you've seen at the end of his races, he looks to be very strong at the line. So I think the step up in trip will benefit him, certainly.
I can't see how it can not be seen as anything but a massive advantage to that horse to be up in trip. I cannot see how, based on what I've seen in how his running style, the way he needs to be ridden in the races. I mean, what a horse. I've not been this excited over a flat horse for a few years, to be honest. The horse is serious, mate. It's a horse, isn't it? You can tell it is. First time out, you saw it, you knew, didn't you? Which will come on to some of the ridiculous prices you have got for this race tomorrow, based on what you saw at Naas, yeah? So it's good. It really is good to see a horse like that, isn't it? I mean, what a horse. I can't say enough superlatives about the horse at the moment. I know Franco, I mean, did he win 14? And you think, Newman's jumping the gun a bit here. Saxon Warrior's only won 5. Well, I can't see any reason why he can't win 9 on the trot after this. Based on what I've seen, and based on, more importantly, based on the competition that I think seems to be around at the moment, may only come from within his own yard. So I can't see why this horse will not go down as a racing great, because he is a horse.
Yes, certainly. I certainly agree with you on that. Obviously, I think it depends on how he's campaigned. Obviously, if he does go and win the Derby at the weekend, they're probably going to stretch his. They're going to stretch his limits and step up in trip later in the year in the St Leger, which possibly will be a question mark in regards to its stamina. However, it certainly deserves to take its chance. But yeah, based on its natural ability alone, I couldn't see any reason why it couldn't go and rack up 6, 7, 8, 9 wins on the bounce for sure.
Seems so easy to ride as well. I mean, that who rode him last time, Donna Crow Barn, all you had to do really was sit on it and get him in the right place in the race and go at the right time. And there was no catching that horse. I mean, I knew it had won 2 furlongs out, to be honest, because I knew nothing was going to stay past him. I mean, to me, the ones that were second and third in that race ran all right. That'll prove to be good form, I think. As you've seen with Roaring Lion coming out really and trotting all over him in the Dante, to be honest. So I think really that he just stormed home, didn't he, in that race? He really, if that was a good field, I think
I'd agree with you. Going into the race, I did think it was only a good renewal. Massard won the Craven well. Roaring Lion was a bit disappointing in the Craven, but it'd come forward from that run. You'd had a couple of other horses in there that were like proper milers, whereas obviously looking at its breeding, it does need a little bit further. So the way they were the way Saxon Warrior won the race certainly does give you the indication that when it steps up in trip, it will be a real force. I looked when I watched back the race a couple of times after, and I did notice that Saxon Warrior dwelt in the stalls a little bit too, and that kind of pleased me a little bit more just to see that, because I think they got just a couple of lengths on him out the stalls just by missing it. So I think he kind of did it, although it made it look easy. I think he kind of did it the hard way in a way. And at the line, there was only one winner. In that, from the final furlong to the line, he really did go away from him. So I think everything that we saw in the race was positive.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, what a performance. Everything I expected it to be honest. I mean, I remember our preview show and you were saying, good stuff, Clint, maybe, that Saxon Warrior more of a Derby horse. I fancied him, to be honest, for the Guineas more than I did the Derby. I'm not saying he's not going to win the Derby, based on what I've seen, and of all the others. You'd have to say he's got an obvious chance in the Derby. But for me, that was the race. First time out, straight in, just like Churchill last year. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What a performance. What a training performance as well. To get him that good on the day. And he did the same last year with Churchill. What was the other horse? I remember the most impressive Guineas winner I've ever been is Footsteps in the Sand. Remember that one? That was first time out. George Washington won the Guineas first time out. I'm sure he did. He does it every year. The guy is an absolute genius, Dave O'Brien. Absolute.
Yes, I say he is a genius. It's a testament to how good a trainer he really is. As you say, Footsteps in the Sand, George Washington, Henry the Navigator.
Oh yes, that one first time out as well. That one, yes, I remember that one.
Yeah, King of Kings back in his early years. All of those won first time out, so he knows obviously how to prepare them to go straight into the Guineas without a run. As regards to I actually feel he's more of a Derby horse than a Guineas horse. Funny enough,
you've always said that. Well, if we're both right, then what a campaign it's going to be.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I can't see any reason why he won't. There is one horse in there that worries me in the Derby. One horse I think that could do something in the Derby against him. There's only one, I think. Is Roaring Lion. I can't rule him out of anything because his good horse, his breeding is as good as not better than the other horse. The Saxon Warrior is a very well-bred American horse. He's got related to no end of Grade 1 winners in America. He's a good horse. And where he won the Dante, you could not help but be impressed with that. And if an impressive Dante winner turns up in the Derby, you've got to be nervous.
Well,
I don't care what you're on.
Obviously, we know Roaring Lion is a good horse. He's proved that in the Racing Post Trophy and the Dante, as you say. My gut feeling is.
Can we talk about his running the Guineas a little bit, mate? First, if you don't mind. I thought in the Guineas he was quite unlucky as well because he ended up racing by himself, didn't he, on the track? And he really did come home the best out of them lot, didn't he, on that side of the track? Like, he only finished fifth. But I think it could be argued that he raced a lot of the race in isolation, away from the main participants. I'm not saying put a line through it, but I'm saying that I don't think it was as bad as it first looked. Running the Craven, you can't excuse that. It looked awful, didn't it? But the run in the Guineas, I'm not sure about that.
Obviously, the Craven run was disappointing. As good as Massa was on the day, it was disappointing from Roaring Lion's point of view. But as going back to the Guineas, I think he ran an okay race. Obviously, he definitely come on from his Craven run. You can see that. And as you say, he was running down the stand side, probably didn't quite help. But I just have a feeling that from race 2 to 3, the Guineas to the Dante, and it's probably a combination of the second to the third run and the step up in trip. I think that probably suited the horse. However, even though I feel that, I feel maybe 12 furlongs might be a little bit stretching his limit. I personally feel that he is an optimum 10 furlong horse. But he's got to take his chance. He was really impressive, obviously, and you've got to really take your chance in the Derby. Although I do feel that probably 12 furlongs might just be stretching him a little bit too much. But I guess time will tell on the day. But yeah, on ability alone, I'd certainly have him as probably the number 2 horse in the race. Although I do probably fear in regards to his stamina a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree really to a certain extent that probably his best trip will be a 10 furlong race, and I'm pretty certain that Mr. O'Brien won't be hanging about in the early part of the race as well. You know, so I think that stamina will come into it.
Yeah,
as it does in most derbies
as you
normally.
say, like certainly, there's normally not no hiding place in regards to like whether the stamina will catch a horse out or not. And
Oshie Murphy, I think, might just be able to nurse him out. No, I'm not back to it. I'm not suggesting that he would beat Saxon Roger, but I can see that if he was to, I wouldn't be surprised. But if anything else would, I would. Some of the Guineas results this year, we've got to touch on them. Absolutely baffling, aren't they? Can you work any of these results out that we're getting? Romanised, Alpha Centauri, Wootton and Almedo. I suppose that was okay-ish. There's been some Bilsden.
Yeah, well, I certainly feel the French form is upside down. However, it doesn't overly surprise me because the way the races are run in France, they just seem to turn into a sprint all the time, and I just wouldn't have any confidence of any horse in France because you don't appear to get an end-to-end gallop. It's very tactical over there.
See, I'm the opposite. I can't wait for French racing these days. I don't know whether it's because I'm more exposed to it and I can see more of it for free, and I can the English races. But I feel that when I nominate an English raider that's going out there, I've got an excellent chance of winning. And I've proved that already this season. 5 times. Stormy Antarctic, Chilean, what's the other one? There's been 3 or 4 at least that I've won out there on. Oh yeah, Air Pilot. Can't forget him, can we? So it's the French horses that seem to let me down more when I fancy them than the English horses.
Right,
strange
racing,
isn't it? Very strange.
It is strange. Obviously, we'll see, and I just from what I've seen when I've been tuning into like the Guineas over there, I just feel that the like races haven't quite been run like from end to end, but
very unsatisfactory.
But it is what it is. You have to.
Simcox horse won the fillies race well, didn't it? That Tepa. It'd be interesting to see what that does.
Yeah, that did win the fillies.
Because I watched its first run out, and it was easy then as well, wasn't it? Impressive then as well when it won first time out, probably class 6 or whatever. That's unbeaten still, isn't it? I mean, let's see what that can do.
Yes, certainly. Like obviously, them winning over there, that big prize over there, they're gonna be coming back over at some point. It's I have been, as you say, I've been a bit miffed by some of the some of the results, but that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. You just have to get on with it, I guess.
That Finch is one with me. Finch.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're familiar with that horse.
The Caleb Abdullah colours.
So it's allegedly a horse. Yeah, it's allegedly a horse, but I've yet to see any evidence of it. But yeah, it's actually related to Byword, a sire. I remember Far winning with Royal Ascot with that.
Yeah.
I can't get to the bottom of that.
Drive you mad sometimes, but yeah, it could be.
Yeah, they do. That one is, especially these French horses, because like you say, some of them, they could easily be perceived as not to be giving their all in these races.
Yeah, exactly.
A massive veer off topic, just to throw everybody off curve. How disappointed were you that Sam Crow fell at Punchstown?
I was massively disappointed. Again, going into the race, I thought he was going to win. Obviously, Cheltenham does leave its mark. I was saying it did leave its mark because obviously it's hard to tell, but going into the race, I thought he'd win. I didn't think it was his optimum trip. I'm quite a strong believer that he's a 2.5 mile horse that needs to be going over fences. But on the day, I did think he'd win. But yeah, it was massively disappointing that he come down. Whether he would have won or not, I still think the race there's still a lot of running to be run, so it's quite difficult to tell. Yeah, I don't know what you think. It was disappointing, and I'm not certain.
But I think that they paid the penalty there for stepping a horse outside the novice company when they never had to. Why did they just not run in the Irish champion novice hurdle? Why did they have to go for the Irish champion hurdle against the non-novice horses? Why have they done that?
I think the reasoning behind it, and I think the only reason behind it, was because at the time it was still possible for Gordon Elliott to win the Trainers' Championship. And I think because of the big pot, I think they tried to help Gordon win the Jiggins have obviously tried to help Gordon win the Trainers' Championship, obviously because it's done on prize money. And I think they've decided they're going to let Sam Crow take its chance. Hopefully it wins and they win the Trainers' title. Obviously it didn't work out like that, and they're probably ruined that they did it now. Because as you say, they should have just kept it in novice company and then thought about coming out of into open company next year.
The novice chase campaign next year, though, I've seen him fall like that.
Yeah, I personally, I don't think his jumping, there's any problem with his jumping. I just think it was one of them things.
Yeah,
you know, sometimes you just get one of those.
Never fallen, has it really? That never fallen.
Yeah. I just.
Ballet, wasn't it?
My initial.
They both fell at the same time.
Yeah, it was very strange that.
They both fell at the same time, didn't they? They both legs went straight up in the air at the same time. It's like synchronised falling. If there was such a thing.
Unbelievable, really. But funny, you know, because like I really like Sam Crow. I think he is going to go to the top. I do think he's going to the top. But however, my gut feeling, I'm not sure, and I have to watch it back again. I've watched it back twice. My gut feeling was at the time he wasn't travelling as smooth as I'd seen him earlier in the season. But it's very difficult to tell for sure. But it was just a little incline that I had that I just felt that he weren't quite moving as well as I thought he was.
Season,
you know, leading up to this. Yeah, I just had that feeling.
Okay, so let's now actually talk about some races now. We're only really going to focus on 3 races at Epsom. There is several over the 2 days, but we're going to focus on what we consider to be the 3 races really that could define seasons for horses. Not so much Coronation Cup, it's normally a starting point for some superb horses. Right, so obviously we're going to start at the beginning on Friday with a couple of races there. Good racing on Friday as expected, Steve, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree. Coronation Cup and obviously the Investec Oaks, two Grade 1 races, and hopefully we'll have some good selections for the listeners.
Hopefully so. I mean, the Coronation Cup really, is really just a race to admire equine brilliance in, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd agree with you. The whole race revolves around Cracksman. The last twice we've seen him, he's been mighty impressive. He looks like he's improved with racing, and it's going to take a very good horse. Personally, I don't think any horse in the race is capable of
not over that trip.
Beating him.
Over that trip. If it was over 10 furlongs, I might be confident, but not over a mile and a half, no.
No, as you say, a mile and a half will suit him down to the ground, and he's going to be a very, very hard horse to beat, not just on Friday, but as the season progresses. I think they're going to look at Royal Ascot for the Prince of Wales, and then possibly a tilt at the King George at Ascot in July. But yeah, as regards to like Friday, there's not really much in the race that I can see posing a threat to him. I don't know what you think.
I mean, regarding where he's going to go next, if you're thinking he's going to go to King George, he has to go for the Hardwick, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think that's also on the agenda later on in the season. The kind of plan I have been.
But saying that maybe not, because I've just noticed he's won at Champions Day, hasn't he? So he knows the track quite well. So Ascot experience might not be as essential to him as I thought it would be, really. Normally you look at the Hardwick and the King George and the Prince of Wales, don't you, Ascot? So you think he'd go for the Prince of Wales more than the Hardwick?
Yeah, just because it's obviously more of a prestigious race. It's a Group 1 it's a Group 1 where the Hardwick also is like a Group 2, I think. The champion stakes is over a mile and a quarter as well. So I think from what I've been hearing from the owner is they're going to go back to 10 furlongs after tomorrow for the all being well for the Prince of Wales, and then have a month's break and then come back for the King George, and then they'll look at autumn campaign with probably the Arc being the main goal in the second half of the season.
A lot of my American correspondents seem to think that he could go to the Breeders' Cup, Cracksman. What's your views on that? I can't see it.
Again, obviously in the past, John Gosden's quite well known for running horses in the Breeders' Cup, i.e. horses like Ravens Pass and that. But I'm not so sure if they'll take Cracksman over there. But a couple of things that I have noted, which would make me think maybe he won't go over there, is I do know that they're not overly keen on running Cracksman on bone-hard ground. And obviously in June and July, it easily could come up on the quicker side. So that'd be maybe a slight concern. But I do know that obviously at the end of last season at Ascot, the ground had a bit of cut in it. And obviously in France, it did too. It weren't obviously no means bottomless. But I do think that they'd prefer it if there was a little bit of cut wherever Cracksman did turn up. So maybe America wouldn't be on the agenda. I'm not so sure.
Unless you look at them ridiculous surfaces they've been racing on dirt.
Yeah. I just, again, if Cracksman was to run in America, which I'm not so sure, I think it's more likely to be in the turf race than the dirt race.
They'll never slip the best son of Frankel any drugs, will they? It's just not the done thing. The Oppenheimers will never do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Like, obviously time will tell, but
the pedigree is not exactly screaming out for it. You look at a horse like Roaring Lion trained by Gosden. If he took that to the Breeders' Cup, I'd be saying brilliant. That'll win because it's got a brilliant American pedigree. But the rest of them, hard to say. These are about older horses. This race, you see, Coronation Cup, and really in older horses, they like to pick their opportunities more, don't they? Really, and plan them out a lot better. You've got Hawkbill in there, like you said. I mean, yeah, I'm with you, really, to be honest, sir. I'll be disappointed if Cracksman don't win tomorrow. Idaho is a brother to Highland Reel that won the race last year. That's about all I've got for him. But to me, Idaho has never looked half the horse to me as Highland Reel has.
No, I'd agree with you. Like, they all do look like they're running for like second place, really. But like,
the old Germans having a go.
Record in the race is fairly impressive. Obviously, some of the
Wins toss. Dual German Group 1 winner. That could run a massive race. Especially if you say there's cut in the ground. I won't be ruling that one out, mate. I'm not saying it can beat Cracksman, but I don't think it'd be last.
No, you could well be right there. But yeah, like obviously the conditions on Friday, they're going to suit Cracksman. So I did hear some people suggesting that Cracksman wouldn't handle the track and that, but I know it didn't. I know it didn't win the Derby last year, and it was a horse that's probably a bit immature still, but I wouldn't blame the track against it. I actually think Cracksman will be fine.
Look at last year's Derby
tomorrow.
They normally, I know they do say if you get beat in the Derby last year, get beat in the Derby, your horse is no good. But last year, I don't think you can say that. I mean, you've had the one you've just said, one that come out and won plenty of races. Ben Battle was 6th or 5th in the Derby, and that's come out and won no end of races. I think last year's Derby, you say Cracksman didn't win it, but there's plenty of others in there that have ran good, solid races that Cracksman was ahead of. Like the two I've just mentioned for a start. I don't think you can knock last year's Derby too much compared to some of them.
Yes, definitely, and obviously, I think the key to Cracksman is, as John Gosden said, and he was quite open to it earlier this season. He said Cracksman. If I remember him saying before the Derby that Cracksman really did need one more race before the Derby just to get him more streetwise. I have a feeling that they always thought he was going to be a progressive horse with age. So I've got a feeling, I just reading between the lines and listening to interviews, I do get the feeling that they think Cracksman's just a different horse now to what it was last.
I will mention a horse now I found going forward just for looking at the form. There's another one that's in there. I'm not saying it's going to do anything tomorrow. Is Sir Louis. I mean, I've just noticed that has got some solid form in France. So I'm well in the business. I'm well in the game with that. 3rd out of 8 behind Garlingari and Air Pilot and all them have absolutely slaughtered that. And I know at Deauville he was 2nd behind Eminent in the race we touched on earlier, Sir Louis. So come on, Mr. Kirk, get him out in France and give old Newman another winner. For the articles. Get him out there. Don't mess about here. He can't win tomorrow, can he? 3rd out of, his form even behind Barsanti. Is that the Roger Varian horse, Barsanti?
No, that's the horse. That was initially going to run in the race, but obviously they pulled it nearer the time. I don't know if the participation of Cracksman's
it was me if I had Barsanti, and especially once I saw Defoe's stuff the other day, and I knew And I knew Defoe was miles better than Passanti.
Yeah, exactly that. As we like been suggesting, I think it's just a one-horse race really. If Cracksman's right, he'll win, and the others will just be running for place money. I think say we're probably questioning why like some of these other horses are running in the race, but obviously it's not a big field, and obviously there is prize money going down the field. So taking a few grand home would probably be a good idea.
Places there's in fact there's money for all of the runners tomorrow as long as they get round. There's 6 runners, and the prize for 6th place is £5,670. And the entries, it was only £1,800 to enter your horse in the race.
Yeah, so that just shows if your horse is sound and you're just going for a day out, why not enter it?
You might end up finishing 10 lengths behind Cracksman and winning 90 grand.
Yes, exactly.
So
don't get me wrong. If you're entitled to take your chance and you've got a horse that's
don't get me wrong,
that's able to run in the race, I don't knock the owners for doing it. Obviously, we don't want them getting in the way of the horses that are gonna.
This is fighting talk.
They shouldn't do. Obviously,
this goes back to the Boover there. I know it's 3 to 10, but you'd be surprised if Cracksman lost the race this season.
Yeah, obviously, this is the thing. Obviously, he's going to be short in most races if he keeps winning. But yeah, as long as he's right, I think he'll win every race.
Can't argue more than that. Time will tell if Mr. Allpress is right. I've known Mr. Allpress a few years, and he sometimes is. So you might have heard something there. So let's get back on track then. Really, well, we've got the Oaks, the 3-year-old fillies race now, the equivalent of the Derby, but for the fairer sex. And this year, I think really a more complicated picture I am yet to see this year than the 3-year-old fillies. I just can't work them out, sir. I don't know what you think.
Well, probably a bit like you and many others. It's a bit of a puzzle to solve. Certainly, there's been a number of runners in the last couple of weeks. Lati, Dar, Magical, Sea of Class won't be taking its chance. So it's probably there's probably more question marks to answer. Really,
I'm looking at a horse now called Forever Together. A maiden after 3 starts, but it's 11 to 2.
Obviously I've looked on. She was the runner-up at Chester behind the stable companion Magic Wand.
She was, and I also see she was 3rd out of 18, hammered by 7 lengths by that Wonder Horse, the late great Contingent. Well, in the race before that, the maiden.
Yes, that's obviously.
And then its maiden before that was a double Group 3 winner, wasn't it? Who's Steph as well? So yeah.
Yeah, as you say, funny you mentioned that because Contingent was actually one of the horses I was interested in earlier in the year, and obviously it's not with us anymore. But as soon as you see that form line with Forever Together and you see how far back she was, you just initially think, oh, that's not good enough to win an Oaks, and I'd probably agree with that. Two horses that two horses that I'm with in this race, not because I think they're supers.
Yeah, I'm with 2 now. I'm with 2 as well, sir. So it'll be interesting to see what we've got here.
Not because I think these 2 horses in any way or form, but I just feel that they're breeding the ground conditions on the day. I just think it'll play to their strengths. So anyway, the 2 horses I'm talking about. The first one is the horse that's called Perfect Clarity. It was the filly that won the Lingfield trial. Yeah, Nathaniel. So she should handle cut. She'll like the step up in trip, and she was. Again, I don't think the Lingfield trial was the strongest, but she couldn't have done much more on the day. I just have a feeling that she will be thereabouts in the race. Whether she's good enough, I'm not sure, but she's about 7 to 1 now. I have actually had a small bet on her. I
couldn't disagree with that. I mean, I'm really looking at Nathaniel's on soft ground any day of the week because it's Concussion's family, isn't it? It's a soft ground family. I know it is. Look at the other thing they had, Great Heavens. Remember that filly? It was a boat. It only run when it was 2 foot underwater. It is a soft ground family, and I've just I would give. I'm looking at the damn Clarietta now. It's Italian, and It's actually, there's a listed winner in the pedigree in Italy. And that's actually an English horse though at first, and then it went to Italy and won. And this year, it's trained in Italy now. This year still by a guy called Riccardo Santini. I've heard of the bloke. It used to be Prescott's last year. He won a couple of moderate races with it and sold it. Unusual for Prescott, and it's making a mistake like that. And it's come out and won a listed race. Yeah. So that's a 4-year-old, and so that leaves it a bit short, doesn't it? Really, the dam itself wasn't really that impressive on the track. John Dunlop trained it, beaten in 7 listed races. So yeah, the best run probably on form was behind Timepiece, 3rd of 13 at Newmarket in 09. So it's there. It's been there. It's been highly tried in its career. It's had 11 runs, and 8 of them were in listed company. So John Dunlop at the time obviously thought he had a good mare on his hands there. So yeah, it's only ever had 2 runs in its life, I've just noticed as well, sir. So that is exactly the sort of horse that you're looking for in this race, without any shadow of a doubt. I mean, that's one of yours. I mean, I don't know. My first one would probably be. I was strong on it. I'd have been strong on it if we did a Guineas preview for this race. So I'll never get a chance to be proved right. I'll be amazed tomorrow if Wild Illusion ain't up there. Because the dam got 2 miles for Godolphin Room. I don't know if you remember it, RUMH. That the 2 miler. So I noticed there's a bit of support for it. I thought it ran a reasonable race in the Guineas, 4th. I can't be amazed if that doesn't run well. But I would never recommend anyone that sort of said, yeah, go out tomorrow and get on a Godolphin horse at 5-2. Because even Charlie Appleby's only at 64%, and they're not running nowhere near as well as they can do. I mean, I don't know what else you like to look of in that race, but they're my 2. Would be Wild Illusion and
funny enough, Wild second. Like you, I feel it ran a decent race in the Guineas without quite threatening enough. But they did say beforehand that the step up in trip is what it needs. I think that was
on the Boussac, isn't it? It won the Prix Marcel Boussac, and that is the main fillies race. Well, the equivalent of say the Racing Post Trophy for fillies in France. That is good form. It wasn't fancied that day, 25-1, which probably at the time would indicate to me that they even thought it needed further then. Being out of a 2-mile dam, it wasn't a great 2-mile dam. I don't think it ever won a listed race. Rated about 80 odd. It wasn't brilliant, but it shows that the stamina is there in absolute abundance for this horse. And with you saying having the soft ground as well, it's out of Dubarry as well, which is obviously, and a Monson was the dam of Wild Illusion. That horse really could have everything in only its 4th run, falling in its favour tomorrow, couldn't it?
So yeah, I think Wild Illusion's certainly a player. I know William Buick, I think at Newmarket in the Guineas, he was for the other Godolphin filly, but I think his main reasoning behind it was, I think his main reasoning behind it was the trip more than ability of the horse. But obviously they do hold Wild Illusion in fairly high regard. So, and this has always been her target from before the Guineas. So yeah, she's got a chance. I wouldn't say anything certain in that race. It does look an open race, but they're the 2 I'd go with anyway.
It is a fairly weak race, I'm sure, but what I'm thinking is that yet again this year we'll have the same instance of what happens every year. This race, I will always say, is too early in the year. Because the Ribblesdale, the Group 2 at Royal Ascot, is always stronger than this.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, actually. Funny enough, when I was at the Guineas a few weeks ago, and I just felt like the season hadn't even started. and I was standing there in the Guineas. Very
officially now, the Guineas is the start of the flat season, isn't it now? That's when they start all the championships, isn't it?
Yeah, right. So
what do you think? Have you got anything to say about one wary at a time, man? I don't want you to get in any trouble. So I'm trying to not rush through them, but get everything we need. Have you got anything to say about Bye Bye Baby? Anything? I remember the dam. Remember when was after these? I think that won the Oaks, didn't it?
Bye Bye Baby will appreciate the cut in the ground. That's probably one of Aidan O'Brien's horses that will actually handle the conditions. I know he's a little bit concerned about conditions for a lot of his horses this week at Epsom.
Would you include Magic Wand in that as well then? Was Magic Wand the ground concern for you, sir?
I'm not sure. I do think she'd appreciate better ground until I actually see the first race being run and see it, kind of how it's riding. It's quite tough because they say it's a chalky track, and even though it's soft, it's not as bad as you'd think the going description is actually to ride. So it's hard to say, but I do think Magic Wand. Obviously, Ryan Moore's chose it, so I'm 85% sure that he will be on the right horse, because very rarely at Epsom is Ryan Moore on the wrong Aidan O'Brien horse. So yeah, I'd say it's got a chance. Obviously, they do get on the wrong horses from time to time, but if you look at Ryan Moore at Epsom on the Aidan O'Brien horses, he very rarely gets on the wrong one.
Okay, and quickly before we go, we've got to touch on the Musadora. We can't talk about the Oaks without talking about the Premier Yorkshire Musadora. We've got Give and Take, the Agus horse. I mean, I don't know, to be honest. I'd be surprised at that one.
I think on form, actual figures, she does have a fair bit to find. However, they've pulled the other filly out, Sia Class, that's looked very impressive this season, and they've stuck with the original plan to run this Musadora winner. And she did travel well into the race, and she did win well. So yeah, and I think she's another one that will handle the ground. So yeah, it's one of those races where
you give her a better chance than me, then, sir. It's fair to say.
In this race, I wouldn't give nothing no chance, if you know what I mean. I think it's a really open race. Nothing would surprise me. What one really? But yeah, I'll give her a chance.
Filly, Edge TR. That's a Simcock horse. We touched on Simcock last week. I mean, that was third in the Musadora. Darvicino, another Aga Khan man, popping up today. I mean, that will like the ground then, you'd think. Playing court, out to jar. Out of a Aga Khan mare.
There was quite a lot of money for that horse in the trial at York, and I was a little bit disappointed with that one. She is probably one of them that I don't actually fancy in the race. Don't get me wrong, she did run quite creditable in the race, being placed, but I just think I can't see her reversing the form with the winner of that race.
Fair enough, yeah. I mean, he's going to have to do that to win, isn't it? Yeah. Honest. So really, if you were advising anybody really to think of looking at the Oaks with a view to maybe trying to guess what the winner would be, you'd have to say really that Wild Illusion and Perfect Clarity would be your which way round would you put them? Which one would you give the best chance to?
I would go Perfect Clarity, just because one, she hasn't been beaten yet, and two, I know Clive Cox doesn't usually train these kind of type of horses, these classic staying horses. Yeah, he's more of a sprinting type trainer, but he seems that he's pretty confident that the filly's going to run big tomorrow. And
I like Mr. Cox. He can train horses for sure, though.
Yeah, I reckon that'll run a big race tomorrow. I've backed it each way.
I can't see why it can't.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
3-year-old colts in the Derby over a mile and a half around Epsom. I think anyone shrewd enough to have been listening for the last half an hour will probably know what's going to be said here. So you think?
Well, yeah, hopefully they do by now. But yeah, obviously Saxon Warriors, the form horse and the confident selection in this race. He has been for a number of months. Obviously, viewers that haven't, listeners that haven't tuned in before, followed on Twitter, now will know. Saxon Warrior is the selection. We've been interested in this horse since the Racing Post Trophy last year, and I think it'll take a good one to beat him. He's got a couple of things to overcome regarding the step up in trip. It is a question mark, but it's one that I think he'll overcome. The rain softened ground might pose another question. However, I remain confident that he'll overcome both of those, and yeah, he's my selection for the Derby.
I mean, obviously, I'm a creature of habit when it comes to betting. I can be quite boring when it comes to betting. I mean, I'm disappointed if I don't see the first and second. in the Racing Post Trophy ahead of the Derby market. It just means I've been wasting my time for the last year. So to see them both at the front of the market for this race shows to me that at least we're all on the right track this year. And the form is looking solid.
Yeah, I agree with you. Obviously, you're referring to Roaring Lion as the other horse in terms of like bringing the strongest.
I'm surprised that more haven't lined up in it. I mean, I don't know what Martin Mead is saying to me, but I don't know why Chilean is in there for a start. I mean, that's won a trial in France. It was ages ago in the season. It was one of the first. It was very early in the season. One of the early.
Chilean ran well. They were saying that they thought Chilean was wrong in the Racing Post Trophy that day. I remember seeing the interview. Yeah, they said Chilean was wrong.
Yeah, Martin Mead after that race said, "Oh, we couldn't be happier. We're going to go for the Dante."
Yeah.
He ran in something else, didn't he?
Yeah.
What's he doing, Mead? He's obviously changed his plans. What do you see getting compared in this race, mate?
Well, yeah. I have obviously had a good thorough look through the field to see if there's any potential challengers to Saxon Warrior, and you always think, oh, there's something that's going to pose some sort of challenge. But yeah, in regards to the ones that I don't fancy. Personally, I don't think Nassau will stay the trip. I don't think Roaring Lion will stay the trip. But the horses that I think might be running on into places are certainly.
We're talking here, ledger selection.
Yeah, those type of horses I'm looking at for place money. Delano, Roosevelt, and Hazapur.
The Argentine horse, yeah?
Yeah, the one that Darren
trial. Flag of Honour last year, and that looks a fair race to me. Because I think although Flag of Honour hasn't really got his head in front this year, it ran with credit, I think. That's another O'Brien 3-year-old. I don't think we should be dismissing yet. Flag of Honour, I don't know where that's going to turn up next. Delano Roosevelt got beat by Hazapur last time out, and it's been beat by Nelson. He wasn't only ever won one race in his life, sir.
I agree with you. However, I do think there's two things to Delano Roosevelt. It's one of those horses that don't seem to have the immediate turn of foot, which obviously you do need to win a derby. So not for any means am I saying it's gonna trouble Saxon Warrior, but I just feel it's one of those horses that will run on into a place. I think the step up to 1.5 miles will definitely suit it. I think it's a bit of a slow burner, and although as you pointed out, it has been beaten by several of the horses running in Saturday's race. It obviously has been running on late into like the money without kind of threatening, but I just feel that probably the Derby and the kind of the way the track is, that kind of unique track and long straight, I just got a feeling it might run into a place, but obviously it's got form to turn around with Hazapur, the Dermot Weld one, which again I don't quite think it'll be good enough to turn that form around, but I do think it'll run on into a place anyway.
I think the Argos horse is interesting, mate. It's quite unexposed, really, isn't it? Especially after Hardland winning the race the other year, I don't think. Surprised me if that ran well, like you say, Hazapur. You've been playing that one, though, no?
Well, I do think it's got an each way chance, and it's the one horse that I'm pretty sure is guaranteed to stay the trip. It's related to Harzand as well. I know he booked the Tory to ride, so and obviously they're fairly confident he'll run a big race. But the words from the trainer's mouth were, we do feel he has a good each way chance. So I think realistically they all think Saxon Warrior's probably going to be too good, but I can see those kind of horses, Delano Roosevelt and Hazapur, running into a place for sure.
What about the Pentagon then? You sound pretty soft on the Pentagon, mate.
The Pentagon's also I did have my eye on, and he's running a Racing Post Trophy.
If everybody is listening, the dam, just in case they were doubting Steve, the dam of Hazapur is a half sister to Harzand. Ardassia, the dam of Hazapur was out of Pivotal, and Harzand was out of Sea the Star. So yeah, solid as a rock breed in there, sir, without any shadow of doubt. Harassia as well, another one of Ox, Hazaria, Harassia. It's a good solid Irish Argentine banner.
Yes, definitely. And going back to the Pentagon, if you look at the Racing Post Trophy last year, he did run on quite well into third with a bad. He had an interrupted preparation going into it. He missed some work prior to the race, and it's been quoted quite often that that horse does need top of the ground to be seen at his best. Obviously, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case at the weekend. It's certainly going to be riding on the slower side for sure. So I do think that's against, as much as I think a step up in trip to mile and a half will suit. I just got a feeling that probably the horse hasn't kind of had things its own way and gone forward as much as you'd have liked for a horse that's probably going to challenge to win a derby.
No, I agree. I mean, it was obviously one at the start of the season where they said, "Oh, this is one." I thought it was. It was actually out of an half there, funnily enough. At the Pentagon. Madawina, I don't know if you remember it. Trained by Andre Parr. So definitely. Well, let's touch on a few of the other trials then. I mean, it'd be remiss of us not to talk about Chester. You've got Young Rascal and DXB. Did you very much of a shout?
Young Rascal is an interesting one because he's one of those that are really inexposed. He obviously looks like he's improving. He ran well at Chester, but he still looked very green. It's anyone's guess how much he'll improve. Personally, I think he's still got a fair way to go to challenge the likes of Saxon Warrior and at the head, a couple of the horses that are a bit more battle-hardened. I just think that he might come a little bit short in terms of experience, but he's certainly a horse that's less exposed than some of the others in the race. So I wouldn't say he wouldn't run a good race, but I just think that he might find the inexperience his downfall. The other horses that I've been looking at, I don't fancy Kew Gardens at all. One other horse
there's a bit of kind of funny race last time out at Lingfield.
This is what I was just going to come to actually. The horse that won the Lingfield race, Night of Behold. I don't think he's good enough to win the race. However, I do think he'll have his say in the race because I think he's the front runner in the race. He's the pace ankle, and if he goes off in front like he did at Lingfield, it's obviously going to be harder for him to make the run in and like dictate in the same way he did at Lingfield. But if he does go off like that, we ain't going to have a slow derby, a slowly run derby. So I'm not sure. It could be tactical whether Aidan tries to get his second and third strings to the front and slow the pace down.
Risky in there. There's a risky. Then the Arcos horses in there as well. That could easily make the pace, couldn't it?
That could do. I just think this Night of Behold's got so much. It showed so much early last time that there won't be a horse in there to lead that.
Oh, they'll just yield to him and let him make it.
But my gut feeling is Aidan and his team will want to get to the front and try and slow the pace down.
Yeah, they'll want something there just in case, won't they? Yeah, just in case it's not how they want it.
They want something suicidal gallop, obviously, because Saxon Warrior, as much as we think it might stay and will stay.
Yeah, because that'll favour the horses we talked about just now, like Hazard and DXB even, I think.
Yeah, it could benefit horses that stay further, but looking at it on the other hand, the quicker they go, usually the class horse comes out on top, if you know what I mean. So it's one of those that you can look two ways at. I do think, obviously, they might be trying to stretch Saxon Warrior by going off hard, but at the same time, if class horse coming off a fierce gallop, it just seems to benefit them and the others will fall away. So, it's interesting. I do think that also will be playing a part during the race, a big part, but I don't think it'll be good enough to win. And from the others, as I've mentioned before, I don't think Massey will stay. I like Roaring Lion, but I don't feel he'll stay. I'm just confident with Saxon Warrior, and I feel Hazapur and Delano Roosevelt are the kind of horses to run on. That's my opinion on the race, really. But yeah, with Massa, obviously it's also been campaigned in Maidan this year as well, so it's a bit of a strange one to go from Maidan back to a
Yeah,
classic.
but then when he, after the Craven, he sort of ripped that off, didn't he, Charlie? He sort of said, well, it went out there and we ran it, but we didn't try sort of thing.
Yeah.
And sort of they got beat 41 lengths looking at it now.
Yeah, obviously they say that now, but like obviously the horse did.
And after it won the Craven,
obviously I do give credit to the horse when it ran in the Craven. It was very impressive. But if you look through its form line, it's one of those horses that don't do it often enough for me, and I've just got a feeling it'll come up short.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, also, could you not argue that in the race, the Craven, it just really got handed the race on a plate by the other jockeys? Being a bit, not inept, but just being a bit slow to realise what Mr. Buick was doing.
Yeah.
He really did steal the race, didn't he? I know Sheen Murphy really was on the favourite that day. Once he realised he didn't really have much under him, and it was a real, not a farce of a race. I would never call any race a group race Guineas Trial a farce, but I think people will be able to know what I'm getting at. I don't think that was the most credible piece of form that we've seen this season. Craven, by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I'd certainly agree with you. Obviously, it was a small
opinion on that race.
And Roaring Lion can run its race, so going on that basis probably was a penalty kick.
Massa won by 9 lengths. Massa won by 9 lengths from White Mocker, who I noticed was involved with the other horse we talked about as well. But it beat White Mocker a nose. She said would be good enough. I agree.
Exactly. So yeah.
Night to behold. Beat White Mocker a nose and it's made.
That's right.
Massa beat it by 9 lengths. That might put that form into context a little bit as well.
Maybe the Guineas, when you look back then, the Guineas form is the strongest.
Yeah, Guineas and the Dante. Yeah, I don't know. Time will prove it. So we're really saying then that these 3 races tomorrow, although they're not going to shape the season, they really are pivotal races. Good luck to all connections. Let's hope that they all come back safe and sound and everyone has a great day out. I mean, really now we're really looking full steam ahead to the next Double Handful updates, probably by audio. I'm going to try and nail you down throughout Royal Ascot, mate, if that's possible.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to give my selections for Ascot, certainly nearer the time. It's not long away now. It's not long away now, so...
Yeah, so that's it. Mr. Allpress has given his word at Royal Ascot. Hopefully all being well and all things being equal, we'll get some good more quality audio from Royal Ascot. But for now, Steve, thank you very much. You all right there, mate? Just fell off your chair.
Yeah, no, I'm all right, mate. I'm just cooking.
You're cooking?
Yeah.
You're cooking?
Not literally this second, but I'm just making putting a drink in the microwave.
Oh, nice one. That's multitasking there.
Yeah,
Who says gentlemen can't multitask? Mr. Allpress is actually making a drink and talking at the same time. That's very good. So all in all, we'll leave it there, sir. Thank you very much for joining us, taking the time to join us. Good luck. One quick question. I'm assuming you're not going tomorrow. You don't really go to Epsom, do you?
Yeah, I'm not actually going to Epsom. I've not been before, so one day it would be nice to take a trip up there, or down there, shall I say. But yeah, I'm going to watch it on telly, and hopefully I'll have something to cheer about. But
so when is your next racing booked for to go in person then, sir? Have you got any lined up yet that you're going to go to?
Not as things stand. York maybe for the Ebor meeting. Maybe Nunthorpe Day probably. I guess I'll know a bit more nearer the time, but I won't be at Royal Ascot this year, but I'll probably be going back there next year.
So with that in mind, thank you very much, Steve, for joining us. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Good luck for tomorrow and for everything else as well, sir.
Thank you very much. Cheers, mate.
And we'll be back. I've been Paul Newman. That was Steve Allpress, and we will hopefully be back around the time of Royal Ascot. Thank you very much for listening, everybody, and all the best. I'll give the last word to Steve Allpress. Steve, if you had to name a juvenile this year that you've seen so far that's impressed you, what would it be, quickly?
I like the horse of Aidan O'Brien's, the filly that won at the Curragh last weekend, called Wonderfully.
Okay, so that's one to look out for later on in the season. I'm sure that won't be letting us down earlier. Good luck tomorrow, sir, for the Classics. Thank you very much for listening, everybody, and all the best.